I'll call this a queer lensed perspective review of Juno. With Juno, it's a great movie. It's a really touching, honestly, really fucking heartfelt story, because you get this teenage girl that is now finding out that she's pregnant and then just can't bring herself to abort the baby after, I don't want to say, not chickening out, but just second guessing at an abortion clinic, you know, because it's scary. It's a medical procedure. There's a religious protester that's also a classmate outside the building. It's awful, and no child should have to go through that. It's rough, which, you know, especially nowadays with the, you know, all the discussion and controversy about whether Roe v. Wade will remain or go away as a result from whatever, you know, our Supreme Court decides. It's a scary time, much in the way that was a scary moment for our character. But what we see with that, and what we get with the reality of things too, we have this actor playing Juno who is not a woman. We have Elliot Page. We all heard the news a couple years ago, and he came out publicly, which is great. I don't personally know how far back he's known or realized this about himself, but I think it's great because as a queer person, a cis queer person, dating a not cis other queer person, this is so affirming, especially when you look in the context of the character. I'm like, I'm Michael Cera kind of thing. You know, like I see myself in him, and then my partner is not Juno. But it's not me seeing them in the movie, but it's very much like, hey, that's a kind of a thing like us, and that makes me happy. You don't get that kind of representation all the time. Nonetheless, you have a non-cis actor playing a role that is not the gender they align and identify with. I love that. It ties back into the abortion thing because it's important, especially in these times, to recall that women and identifying women are not going to be the only people affected by these kind of decisions. You know, just for example, if you could have, absolutely, there's somebody out there that has a face very similar to mine with the more masculine features and the facial hair. They don't have my anatomy, and they too equally need that kind of healthcare to be accessible to them. And it's that kind of queer lens that I'm looking at this movie from, and I'm watching it, that's really just warming my big gay heart, because I'm like, this is great. Because it wasn't made to be this, but given, you know, the news we receive about people, and an actor coming out, and some scary news about our, you know, coming down from our government, it provides a new perspective on this movie, a new way that we can look at it and go, oh, hey, we'll look at that. You know, not everybody that's going to need this kind of reproductive health care is necessarily going to be a woman. I don't know. And so it's those kind of queer lenses that I'm looking at this movie from. On top of it, just being a good movie in general, that I'm really happy with what I saw, and I would happily watch this movie again. I loved it. I loved it a lot.